Right behind me is the Saturnine Tower. It has sat abandoned since 1998.
Recent drone explorations have led to some of the most bizarre discoveries ever made in the most unexpected places, far from cities and without any trace of human life. From a strange phone booth that is said to connect to the afterlife to a field filled with human skulls. What are the weirdest things ever uncovered in these remote, desolate areas? And what other secrets are lurking in the middle of nowhere? Join us as we unveil 15 of the strangest discoveries from the most isolated corners of the world. Number 15. Forest, hidden in a mountain. While exploring the mountain range in the Guangxi Zhuang Autonomous Region of China, a drone made a chilling discovery in a mountain that no one was probably supposed to see. The team of Chinese scientists discovered a giant sinkhole with a hidden forest at the bottom. This sinkhole is 630 feet deep, which is deep enough to fit the entire St. Louis Gateway Arch inside. The team of cave explorers and scientists rappelled down into the sinkhole and found 3 cave entrances, along with ancient trees that stretch 131 feet tall, their branches reaching up toward the sunlight streaming in from above.
Exploring the underground river is very difficult. It's very tiring. It's very dangerous.
The sinkhole, also called a Tiankeng, or heavenly pit, is about 1,004 feet long and 492 feet wide. Inside, the lush undergrowth was as tall as a person's shoulders, making it feel like a completely different world. According to the lead explorer, Chen Lixin, it's possible that new species of plants and animals could be discovered in this unique ecosystem. Leaving behind these solitary mountains, we journey to a remote continent far from civilization, where the next site is sure to amaze you. Number 14. Ancient and Mysterious Skulls Field. Archaeologists have uncovered something truly thrilling in central Mexico, about 150 human skulls, believed to be from sacrifice victims. This shocking discovery is one of the first times such a large number of skulls has been found away from a major temple or pyramid. What makes this find even more mysterious is that it was made in a small, unremarkable field, not in a grand complex like most would expect. The skulls, dating back to between 660 and 860 AD, were carefully arranged in rows or small mounds, mostly facing east toward the rising sun. The site, located near the ancient city-state of Teotihuacan, is far from any known Aztec or other major civilization sites. Archaeologists weren't expecting to find anything like this in such a plain area. Christopher Morehart, an archaeologist from Georgia State University, discovered these skulls while studying old farming practices. He found them in Zaltacan, a quiet farming village. At first, no one imagined there would be such a gruesome and puzzling find beneath the peaceful fields. As of now, around 150 to 200 skulls or their fragments have been uncovered. The strange thing is, this location is far from the grand cities known for human sacrifice, like Teotihuacan or Aztec temples. This small, grassy mound is easy to overlook. The big question is, why were so many skulls found here, in a place not linked to large, powerful cities? One of the odd details is that many of the skulls still had finger bones tucked inside their eye sockets. This eerie touch seems to have been part of some ritual, though the exact meaning remains a mystery. The skulls also show signs of decapitation that was done differently than usual, with the cuts made closer to the base of the skull. Adding to the mystery, the people sacrificed here came from different backgrounds. Some had signs of cranial deformation, while others did not, suggesting a mix of people. This is unlike other mass sacrifices, where victims usually came from similar groups. Even more curiously, the area may have been connected to water rituals. The skulls were found near natural springs that once provided clean water to the fields. The site also had carvings of the water god Tlaloc, along with images of corn and chili plants, hinting that it may have been an agricultural shrine. What's truly fascinating is that this site may have held significance long after the sacrifices ended. Researchers found modern-day objects like black candles and eggs in plastic bags, suggesting that locals might still use the spot for rituals even today. It seems this location has held religious importance for centuries, drawing people back again and again. This find opens up exciting possibilities. As archaeologists explore more rural sites, they may uncover more hidden shrines like this one. revealing more about ancient sacrifices in places far from the grand cities we usually associate with such rituals. A mass sacrifice site is terrifying, but at least we know it's buried in the past. Now imagine stumbling upon a ghost city where all the residents mysteriously vanished without a trace. Now that's chilling. Number 13, the world's loneliest post office. In Port Lockroy, Antarctica, there's a small, charming building with little red doors, windows, and a red roof. Standing alone in the icy wilderness, this tiny structure is the world's most remote post office, exposed to some of the harshest weather on Earth. Despite its old-fashioned look, the Port Lockroy Post Office is very much active. Run by the UK Antarctic Heritage Trust, it closed briefly during the COVID-19 pandemic, but reopened in 2022. 4 people manage the post office from November to March each year, ensuring it stays operational. Around 80,000 pieces of mail pass through the post office annually, mostly postcards and letters from curious tourists. These pieces of mail are sent to over 100 countries worldwide, and despite the remote location, the cost of postage is a surprisingly affordable $1. Port Lockroy itself has a long history of Antarctic exploration. First used by whalers in the early 20th century, it became the British base for their first year-round station, known as Base A, established on February 11, 1944, as part of Operation Tabarin during World War II. Later, it became a scientific research center until 1962, when it was moved to a larger base. In 1995, Port Lockroy was transformed into a historic site, now a popular spot for tourists who visit the museum and learn about its role in Antarctic history. The post office team at Port Lockroy has unique jobs. One person serves as the postmaster, handling all the letters, while another manages the museum and gift shop. 2 other workers coordinate with visiting ships and keep track of the 1,500 Gentoo penguins living on the island. Life at Port Lockroy isn't for everyone. There's no running water, no Wi-Fi, and phone calls are limited to just 10 minutes a week. When a heavy snowstorm hit the area back in 2022, Britain's Royal Navy had to step in to help dig out the building from the deep snow. Even so, when the post office reopened in 2022, over 6,000 people applied for the 4 positions. Despite the challenging conditions, the appeal of working at the world's most remote post office remains strong. Number 12. The Soviet Frozen City. Drone footage reveals a breathtaking view of a ghost town, frozen in time. The incredible images from the Arctic offer a rare glimpse of an abandoned coal mining town from the Soviet era. This empty town, called Vorkuta, is located in northwest Russia. It feels like a place stuck in the past, as ice now fills homes, snow blankets the buildings, and huge icicles hang from the ceilings, even from chandeliers. The footage, taken in March 2021, captures the stunning beauty of this forgotten place from above and up close. Buildings and cars are buried under deep snow, a result of the bitter cold that recently hit the region. Vorkuta was once a lively city, but its harsh winters make life nearly impossible. Temperatures can drop as low as -60 degrees Fahrenheit. Each winter, snow and ice take over what were once cozy dining rooms, living rooms, and bedrooms in Soviet-era apartment buildings. Now, these homes stand empty, overtaken by nature. The town has a dark history. From the 1930s to the 1950s, prisoners were forced to work in the coal mines here. At its peak, the town had 13 active mines and was full of life. Tragedy struck in February 2016 when one of Russia's worst coal mine disasters occurred at the Vorkuta coal mine. A methane gas leak caused an explosion, killing 32 people, including 26 miners who had already been trapped for 3 days after a previous blast. Enough of the spooky stuff. The next discovery is something that will truly amaze you and offer you a valuable lesson. Number 11. World's largest living organism. It might be hard to believe, but the largest living thing on Earth isn't a giant whale or a towering tree. It's a massive fungus hidden beneath the ground in Oregon's Blue Mountains. While button mushrooms you see at the store are small and cute, their distant cousin in Oregon stretches across an unbelievable 2,384 acres of land. That's about the size of 1,665 football fields. This giant organism, known as Armillaria ostoyi, is not only massive, but also ancient, Scientists estimate it to be around 2,400 years old, but it could be as old as 8,650 years. Imagine something living quietly beneath your feet for thousands of years. The way this fungus spreads is fascinating. It sends out tiny threads called hyphae, which grow along the roots of trees, digesting nutrients. But Armillaria has a superpower. It grows long, shoestring-like structures that can stretch across gaps in the soil, helping it claim even more space. This fungus can kill trees by causing a disease known as Armillaria root disease, and it continues to spread its reach through the forests of Oregon and beyond. Their network of tiny filaments forms a huge underground web called mycelium, which doesn't have a fixed shape or size, making them hard to define as individuals. It's like having a living, growing blanket of fungus beneath the earth. While this fungi can survive for thousands of years, the next man-made item on our list lasted less than a century before the government had to take dramatic action. Number 10. F-111 Burial Site. In December 2010, Australia retired its fleet of F-111 planes, which had been an important part of the Air Force for almost 40 years. The Australian government decided to bury 23 of these planes in a landfill near Ipswich, trying to keep this decision a secret from the public. However, the truth eventually came out. Australia did manage to save 6 of the planes. 2 were kept at Air Force bases in Amberley and Point Cook, and 1 each at bases in Edinburgh and Wagga. Additionally, the government loaned 7 more F-111s to museums and historical groups around the country so they could be displayed and preserved while managing the risks of asbestos. Despite these efforts, the burial of the remaining 23 planes was kept hidden for a long time. Many aviation enthusiasts were upset about this. They felt it was a disrespectful end for planes that had served the country so well. The idea of such important aircraft being discarded like trash was deeply upsetting to those who valued their history. Greg Gray, a former senior non-commissioned officer in the U.S. Air Force, explained that only the main bodies of the planes were buried. The wings, stabilizers, and tails were removed and sent for scrap. Since the fuselages contained asbestos, burying them was seen as a safer option. Recovering the materials would have been costly and risky, requiring special facilities and protective equipment. By the time they were buried, the planes were hardly recognizable. Staying on the topic of burials, the next discovery is one that can bring peace to even the most restless souls. Number 9. Phone booth to the afterlife. In a quiet garden in Otsuchi, Japan, there stands a special phone booth called the Wind Phone, where people come to talk to loved ones who have passed away. It all started in 2010, when a man named Itaru Sasaki was grieving the loss of his cousin. He wanted to find a way to stay connected, so he placed an old telephone booth in his garden. Though the phone wasn't connected to any line, he imagined his words being carried away by the wind to reach his cousin. The booth is simple, yet powerful, a white box with glass walls, inside which sits a black rotary phone. Next to it, a notebook is placed for visitors to write messages. The phone isn't connected, but to Sasaki and many others, it became a bridge to those they missed. In 2011, tragedy struck the region. A devastating earthquake and tsunami claimed over 15,000 lives, with the town of Otsuchi losing more than 1,200 people. In the aftermath of the disaster, Sasaki opened the Wind Phone to the public, allowing others to use it to speak to their loved ones who had been lost. People from all over Japan, and even the world, began visiting the booth, sharing their heartache, love, and memories. Over the years, more than 30,000 visitors have come to this quiet hill overlooking the town, seeking comfort in their one-sided conversations. Even after storms damaged the booth in 2017, local carpenters who had used it themselves repaired it immediately, showing how much it meant to the community. When the booth started to wear down, donations came flooding in, helping to build a stronger, lasting version. Shifting from this serene garden to a vibrant city, just the sight of this building is enough to spark the curiosity in anyone. Number 8. Unfinished skyscraper in Thailand. This amazing drone footage will make you wish you had your own drone. It shows the Sathorn Unique Tower in Bangkok, Thailand, also known as the Ghost Tower. This towering structure was meant to be a stunning 47-story luxury condo with 600 units. designed by the famous architect Rangsan Torswan. However, things took a turn in 1993 when Rangsan was caught up in a legal scandal involving an accusation of plotting to murder the president of the Supreme Court. This scandal led to major delays, and even though Rangsan was cleared in 2010, the project struggled with financial issues. The situation got even worse with the 1997 Asian financial crisis, which crashed Bangkok's real estate market. The finance companies backing the tower went bankrupt, leaving the construction site frozen in time. Despite being 80% complete, the Sathorn Unique Tower has stood untouched for over 20 years. Inside, it's like a time capsule with empty hallways, graffiti-covered walls, and crumbling staircases. Exploring the corridors of this building won't magically reveal a room full of thesauruses, but the next discovery is like something straight out of a movie or a novel. Number 7. Cave of Crystal. In April 2000, two miners, brothers Juan and Pedro Sanchez, made a jaw-dropping discovery. While working in the Nika mine, they found a small crack in the rock that led them to an amazing hidden chamber deep underground. Inside, they found a magical cave filled with gigantic gypsum crystals. Some of these crystals are more than 30 feet long and weigh as much as 55 tons. The cave's conditions were otherworldly. It was blazing hot at 136 degrees Fahrenheit, and the air was 100% humid. This extreme environment was perfect for the crystals to grow to such enormous sizes over thousands of years. Even more fascinating, tiny creatures called extremophiles were discovered living inside the crystals. While we can grasp how these tough little organisms adapted to the harsh conditions of the cave, thriving in a place unlike any other on Earth, it's truly unbelievable how the next item on the list has managed to last for so long. Number 6. Statue in the Pole of Inaccessibility. In the heart of Antarctica, where no land is farther from the sea, stands a statue of Vladimir Lenin. This remote spot, known as the Pole of Inaccessibility, is the farthest point from the ocean in every direction. In December 1957, during the Cold War, 32 Soviet explorers set out on a daring mission from their base. Their goal was to reach this remote pole and surpass the Americans, who had just established a base at the South Pole the year before. This area is also the coldest place on Earth, with an average temperature of negative 58.2 degrees Fahrenheit. The journey was grueling, especially with a solid bronze bust of Lenin in tow. But the Soviets pushed through fierce snowstorms and reached their destination in December 1958. To celebrate their achievement, they set off fireworks and placed Lenin's bust on top of their radio shack, facing Moscow through thousands of icy miles. Even today, the bust endures beneath layers of snow and ice, a silent testament to the revolution it once symbolized. However, just 12 days after their arrival, the team realized the station was too isolated for long-term use. They quickly evacuated, with some leaving by a makeshift airstrip and others by sled. Before we continue the video, let us have our subscribers' pick for today. On your screen, you'll notice what seems to be an incomplete bridge in the middle of nowhere. While the exact location is unclear, there have been even stranger and more unsettling discoveries in remote areas that have baffled explorers. For example, a drone made a chilling discovery in the mountains, capturing something no one was supposed to see. This took place at Rupkund Lake, also called Skeleton Lake, which sits high in the Himalayas at over 5,000 meters above sea level. The lake's clear waters hide a chilling secret: the ancient remains of hundreds of people. At first, it was thought to be a recent disaster, but further study revealed the bones are from ancient times, fascinating scientists, historians, and adventurers for years. Some skeletons have signs of blunt force injuries, possibly from hailstones, while others show damage from sharp objects. The variety in physical features and the artifacts found with the bones suggest that people from different regions gathered here, adding mystery to why they ended up in this remote and striking place. What is the most mind-blowing thing to have ever been discovered in the mountains? Share your thoughts in the comments below. Number 5. The Hune Horde. On a chilly November day, Eric Laws, a local farmer and part-time metal detectorist, was searching for a lost hammer in his field when his metal detector beeped loudly, signaling something big.
And I dug a bit deeper and it was still there, and I dug a bit deeper. I'm 12, 14 inches down.
Little did he know, he was about to uncover a treasure far more valuable than his missing hammer. As he dug deeper, Laws discovered a pot full of gold and silver coins, sparkling jewelry, and other precious items. Amazed by his find, he quickly stopped and contacted the local authorities to report his incredible discovery. The news spread fast, and soon professional archaeologists arrived to carefully dig up the site. What they found was truly stunning: the Hune Horde. This treasure contained over 15,000 Roman coins, along with exquisite gold and silver jewelry, tableware, and more. The hoard, buried in a big redware pot, had been hidden around 410 to 430 AD, during the Roman Empire's decline in Britain. Among the treasures were extraordinary items like the Empress Pepper Pot, a silver pepper shaker shaped like a female figure, and the Hune Venus, a silver statue thought to represent the Roman goddess Venus. The collection also included beautiful silver spoons, gold rings, and a wide variety of coins from different periods of Roman history. One might expect riches upon finding a hidden hoard, but the next discovery brought nothing but confusion to its finders, and even more confusion to those they shared it with. Number 4. Loneliest Decalog Stone. Following tips from local residents, 2 explorers ventured through ancient Native American sites. They soon found what appeared to be an old campsite, a place people likely stopped briefly on their way to other destinations. At this spot, they discovered a large boulder with 9 lines of strange writing chiseled onto its flat lower surface. As they got closer, they noticed something odd. The letters weren't consistent.
I wanted to see for a long time. We made it, Drew.
Yes, we did.
What do you think?
These are they're very interesting.
Some resembled ancient Phoenician script from as far back as the 11th century BCE, while others looked like Samaritan writing from the 7th century AD. The more they studied the stone, the more doubts they had about its authenticity. The site itself was about 10 miles from the Rio Grande, an ancient waterway, and close to the Rio Puerco, a reliable source of water. But the location didn't seem ideal for anything significant. It wasn't a good spot for a meeting place, and the little arroyo, a dry creek nearby, was hard to describe and even harder to find. After taking pictures and analyzing the inscriptions further, the explorers returned to Albuquerque, pretty sure that the stone was a hoax, but they couldn't help but wonder, who could have carved these inscriptions? Was it a Spanish priest from centuries ago? Or perhaps a crypto-Jew? Someone secretly practicing Judaism who had settled in the area during the colonial period. While some Jewish settlers did arrive in New Mexico during the 17th century, the letters used in the inscription weren't rediscovered until the late 19th and early 20th centuries. Could it have been a Mormon traveler trying to prove the truth of the Book of Mormon? This seemed unlikely too, as even Mormon scholars didn't seem to endorse the stone's authenticity. Perhaps it was a curious University of New Mexico professor from the early 20th century, or maybe even a rancher with an interest in ancient languages. The mystery remained unsolved, leaving the explorers with more questions than answers. Moving away from these puzzling writings, sometimes ancient drawings speak clearer than any words could ever explain. Number 3. Chauvet Cave Paintings. In 1994, 3 explorers, Jean-Marie Chauvet, Eliette Brunel Deschamps, and Christian Hilaire, embarked on an adventure in the Ardèche region of southern France. While wandering through the Ardèche Gorge, they stumbled upon a small opening in the rock, leading them to an underground chamber. What they discovered inside was nothing short of astonishing, a hidden gallery of ancient art.
In 1994, and then closed off to the public immediately. Very few people have ever been allowed in.
Inside the cave, known as Chauvet Cave, they found a stunning collection of paintings that date back tens of thousands of years. The walls of the cave are adorned with vibrant, detailed images of animals like mammoths, rhinoceros, lions, and horses, along with mysterious symbols and handprints. The skill and detail of these paintings highlight the artistic talent of our prehistoric ancestors.
Been made as precisely as could humanly be possible.
Chauvet Cave offers a rare window into the Upper Paleolithic period, around 30,000 to 32,000 years ago. The precision and beauty of these artworks challenge the old belief that early humans only created simple art. The cave also revealed early artistic techniques, like brushes made from animal hair and paints made from natural minerals and plants. The animals depicted in the paintings give scientists clues about the Ice Age environment and wildlife. The artwork also hints at the symbolic or spiritual significance animals had for these ancient people, showing a deeper cultural side of prehistoric societies. Back to modern times, this covert station has been a source of intrigue and concern for non-ally nations in recent years. Number 2. Arctic Air Base. Nestled at the top of the world on the remote Franz Josef Land Archipelago, Russia's farthest outpost is the Nagorskoye Base. Known as the Arctic Trefoil Base, It was completed in 2017. Early satellite photos from September 2015 showed the base as a bare structure with no visible defenses.
Covered in ice, and yet the Russians have managed to extend the runway to a point that they can land even their heaviest aircraft here, including strategic bombers capable of carrying nuclear weapons.
However, it raised concerns, as it seemed to pose a potential threat to countries not allied with Russia. The base includes a main building, fuel depots, heating systems, and both old and new runways. It also has docks for bringing in construction materials and supplies. By August 13, 2020, new satellite images revealed significant changes. The old runway had been extended from 8,200 feet to a massive 11,000 and resurfaced with concrete. This upgrade allows the base to accommodate military jets and cargo planes like the An-26, N-72, and Il-76. The expanded runway enhances Russia's military reach in the Arctic, giving it a strategic advantage. Today, the base is fully operational and managed by Russia's frontier guards. It can house around 150 soldiers and is designed to support Russia's military fleet, making it self-sufficient in the harsh Arctic environment. Heading back to the mountains, the next site has not only withstood the test of time, but also played a pivotal role in shaping the fate of an entire nation. Number 1. The Mountain Monastery. Among the many ancient monasteries in Ethiopia, Debre Damo stands out, not for being the largest or most important, but for its unique and fascinating characteristics. First, its age is impressive. Debre Damo was founded in the early 6th century by Arigawi, one of the 9 saints. It's just as old as other monasteries built by his fellow monks, such as those in Aksum and Yeha. But what makes it special is that Debre Damo's church is believed to be the oldest still standing in Ethiopia. Though it's been destroyed and rebuilt several times, its original design remains intact, showcasing the ancient Aksumite art style. The building is simple yet elegant, with walls made of alternating layers of stone and wood, creating a beautiful mix of light and shadow. The ceiling is equally stunning, with wooden panels engraved with animal and plant designs. The second amazing feature is its location. Debre Damo sits on a flat, oval-shaped plateau that rises 17 meters above the surrounding area. The steep cliffs make it accessible only by climbing ropes thrown down by the monks. Visitors are tied to the ropes and pulled up. A thrilling and nerve-wracking experience, especially when looking down from the edge of the cliff. No women, not even female animals, are allowed on this holy mountain. A curious story surrounds the founding of the monastery. Tradition says that before Arigawi, a snake lived on the mountain and was worshipped by locals. When the monk tried to climb up, the snake helped him, but then threw him violently. The Archangel Michael, depicted in many paintings, is said to have intervened to protect the monk and prevent the snake from harming him. Despite being isolated and hard to reach, Debre Damo played a major role in Ethiopian history. Emperors kept close ties to the monastery. Great religious leaders like Tekle Haymanot were educated there. In the 16th century, when Muslim leader Ahmed Grogn was ravaging the land, Emperor Lebna Dengel took refuge in Debre Damo, where he later died. In a rare event, women were allowed to climb the mountain as the emperor's widow, Zebla Vengel, coordinated resistance efforts from there and celebrated victory over the invader. Over time, the monastery lost much of its influence. Today, talking with the monks of Debre Damo can be an unusual experience. Some of their answers to curious visitors seem more based on tradition than reality. One monk claims that the monastery used to house 6,000 monks and even now has 200 monks and 150 young aspirants. However, it's hard to imagine so many people living on such barren ground. Another monk believes monks shouldn't be educated elsewhere, insisting that a monk's connection to God is enough. He even argues that adult vocations are less ideal because they already know too much about the world. In its prime, Debre Damo was a center of learning and possessed large lands. But after the Ethiopian government nationalized the land in 1974, the monastery's wealth disappeared. Today, the few monks who remain survive on donations from the faithful and tourists, as well as a small subsidy from the Ethiopian Orthodox Church. Thanks for watching. See you in the next video.